genre-jumping jazz maestro Peter Nero rocks the heavenly stage at 89. TLDR, celebrated pianist, Peter Nero, known for his high-spirited fusion of classical and jazz, has moved on to the Celestial Concert Hall at the age of 89. With a career spanning over 6 decades, Nero was an unparalleled showman, dropping beats from Tchaikovsky to Tahitian fertility dances while throwing in some pop jazz. He shuffled off his mortal coil in an assisted living facility in Eustis, Florida. But was Nero just playing classical with one hand and pop jazz with the other? Let's dive in. Peter Nero, the pianistic dynamo who made the 60s swing with his distinctive blend of classical and jazz, has ended his long-standing gig here on Earth. His daughter, Beverly Nero, confirmed his departure from the earthly stage in Eustis, Florida, where he had resided in his final months. Ever been to a Nero show? If you have, you'd remember his humorous self-introduction. He'd tell his audience, "We shall play T for two. My right hand will be playing T for two, while my left hand will play Tchaikovsky's Fifth. My left foot will be fiercely tapping out the traditional rhythm to the Tahitian fertility dance. My right foot will just be excited. How's that for multitasking?" To generations of music lovers, Nero was a national treasure. He jammed with top bill artists like Frank Sinatra, Mel Torme, Andy Williams, Johnny Mathis, and many more. He churned out 72 albums, mesmerized audiences with a nostalgia-tinged mix of jazz and classics, and conducted the Philly Pops for 34 years, sometimes with one hand while his other played the piano. Our beloved Maestro was a unique performer, an interpreter of Gershwin, who'd chat with audiences, create impromptu program lineups, and thrill listeners with spontaneous medleys of Liszt, Prokofiev, and popular American tunes. All this would crescendo into a smashing finale with An American in Paris. In a bold mid-career shift, Nero ditched smoky piano lounges, remodeled himself as a player-conductor, and began gracing the stage with orchestras like the Philly Pops. He penned a cantata based on Anne Frank's diary and celebrated national holidays with patriotic performances in Philadelphia. From symphony halls to college unions, he filled the seats and won hearts. But why stop there? Nero is a shining example of a boundary-busting artist. One can only imagine what could happen if more musicians decided to experiment as bravely and brilliantly as Nero did. What boundaries would they shatter? What fascinating sonic cocktails might they concoct? But here's the bigger question, as the curtain falls on Nero's glittering career: who's going to fill his shoes? Who's up to step up to the keyboard and keep the mashup of classical and jazz alive? Are there contemporary musicians bold enough to break genres and captivate audiences like Nero did? What do you think?